is a procurement process. You only commence procurement process upon provision of the budget. The budget for the purpose of general election was provided in 2021-2022, July. And therefore, that is the time when you can start procuring a vendor. You cannot be able to anticipate that 5 years later, I'm going to procure Citizen TV. You will only start procuring, and remember I said this is actually open tender. So the people who are going to participate in that tender is the ones that we are going to evaluate. So you cannot guess.
But even before procuring Citizen TV, you will have already known what has been said about them before.
No, I was just giving a Citizen as
Bwana CEO, tusonge mbele. Swali langu litakuwa ni kuhusu elektroniki, sajili elektroniki na sajili ya kawaida, ile tunasema ni manual yenye imekuwa printed. Tumeona kuna mvutano, Azimio wakiwa wanataka kuwe na ile sajili ya yenye ko printed, na nyinyi mnavutia kwamba mtabaki na electronic. Lakini tumesikia kwamba mawakili na wale wataalamu wanasema kwamba pia elektroniki iko prone to manipulation, na nyinyi mnajaribu kukimbilia elektroniki, manake mnasema manual nayo iko na urahisi wa kwamba watu wanaweza ku dodge numbers pale ama figures na wabadilishe majibu. Kwa nini? Na tunajua kwamba sheria kando na ile ambayo Bwana Chebukati anasema kwamba mwaka 2017 kama sijakosea kulikuwa na ile ruling ya Court of Appeal kwamba mtafuata hisha, lakini sheria yenyewe inasema kwamba lazima kuwe na ile complementary system ambayo ni manual. Lakini nyinyi tunaona mnajitoa pale mkisema kwamba mnataka kuondoa kudojiwa kwa namba, lakini tunajua pia upande wa elektroniki inaweza kuwa prone to manipulation. Unaweza kujitetea vipi pengine?
Kwanza nataka kusema kuwa sisi hatukatazi watu kutuelezea kuhusu hisia zao. Kama kuna watu wako na tashwishi kuhusu zile kits ambayo tutatumia ama mfumo ule tutatumia, ni mzuri wakituelezea ndo tupate kuweza kuwaeleza utaratibu wake, waelewe kwa nini tunasema tufanye hivi na sivyo vile wanavyotaka. Kwa hivyo hatuna ubaya na wale ambao wanasema ya kuwa tunafikiria kuwa pengine kuwe na hii sajili ya manual. Na sisi hatujakataa kuwa kusiwe na sajili ya manual, lakini tunasema ya kuwa hiyo itakuwa ni kitu cha mwisho ambacho tutumie baada ya kuwa kama kutakuwa na failure technology, kama technology itakuwa haiwezi kufanya kazi. Na sheria ilisema kama vile chairman alisema kuwa tukizungumzia kuhusu complementary mechanism ni kwa sababu ukienda pale ukitaka ku-identify lazima utumie vidole vyako. Vidole vyako vinaweza kuwa si vizuri kwa sababu ya zile kazi unazofanya. Kwa hivyo kama itakuwa si vizuri, kuna njia nyingine mkabala ambao unaweza kutumia. Tutatumia kitambulisho chako, tutatumia namba zako, tutakuangalia na ile information yako tutaweza kuiona pale kwenye tukiiona basi tutakuruhusu upige kura. Lakini kama itaharibika kabisa ule mtambo, basi sisi tutaenda mwanzo, tuko na backups kits ambao tunaweza kuzitumia pia. Lakini pia kama tutaishiwa kabisa, tutatumia hiyo sajili. Nadhani
upande wa Azimio unaelewa hilo, lakini kwa nini mnaona wanasukuma? Nadhani ni nini wanasukuma kuwe na hiyo manual register?
Wao nafikiri wamejieleza vizuri ya kuwa hawataki kuwa mtu aende kwenye polling station na asiruhusiwe kupiga kura kwa sababu ya kuwa pengine teknolojia haikufanya kazi. Na hayo sisi tunakubaliana. Sisi tunataka kila mmoja akienda kwenye polling station akubaliwe apige kura, mradi ya kuwa yeye ni mmoja wa wapiga kura. Na hapo tunakubaliana kabisa.
I have follow-up questions and I want to be more specific on Section 44 of the Elections Act. But first, because you're answering that, I'll go to 44A. I want you to explain to me before I go to the chairman, 44A, what complementary system means, because the law says this. Notwithstanding the provision of the two sections 39 and 44, the Commission shall put in place a complementary mechanism for identification of voters and the transmission of elections. Let's talk about identification of the voters. How can technology, how can the same system that we're talking about be complementary in that it's a KIMS kit? So I can't use my thumb or my finger, but you want to make it look like my ID with the same technology is complementary. Could this section also have meant that a complementary system could be this manual register and not necessarily part of that technology that we are saying? It's the KIMS kit, it's the technology, it's everything, but let's get something aside from this. So aside from this, could it not be that this section contemplated the register, the book?
Maybe, but I think the chairman has explained that there's a court ruling there was a civil appeal number 258, whereby and in that ruling, actually, it set aside the sections of the law you are talking about, and actually, it affirmed the procedures we actually explained in the memo that was provided then. So, to that extent, we want to associate ourselves with that procedure. When you talk about biometric versus biographic, the default method when you go to the polling stations is for you to use biometric, because biometrics are actually unique. You know, even an ID you can actually share with somebody else. Do you know that?
A number.
Yes, and therefore the default that is actually unique completely is your biometric.
Okay.
But in case it fails, because we have also captured your picture, we have your details, when you actually enter your ID, you can be able to retrieve the information. We'll see your actually photo there. Suppose also you don't have hands, we should also have a workaround method of identifying differently.
Okay.
And that's why we are saying that complementary should also be in terms of your biographics, not necessarily your biometrics.
Okay.
Therefore, when we enter your ID details, you can be able to retrieve your information. You can see this is Mijungu, and we should allow you to go and vote because of that.
All right. That having been said, they say I'd like to go to section 44 now 4, which talks about this election technology being deployed 120 days, tested, tried, and all that. I mean, as at now, with 26 days left, I put it to you that none of this comes, knows the kind of technology. Your own test failed. I hear there's another test that you're planning, but it failed. Now, the law that you're saying that you want to associate yourself with that particular one, there's an argument that it could be convenient for you, because if you look at it, you're speaking the same language as one of the candidates. That aside, the law is specific on the number of days that this technology can be deployed and it can be tested. That did not happen. So, Chairman, what is the confidence in this system as at now, with 26 days left, that you're giving the candidates?
Now, you said what did not happen. Technology was procured 120 days to the elections. We had procured a service provider. We procured the equipment that we are supposed to use, and that's what the law says.
Yeah.
Procuring the service provider and the technology to be used. That technology was procured 120 days before 120 days to the election.
Talk to us about 44B, 44.4B now, which says test, verify, and deploy.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Verify and deploy.
Yes.
We had a simulation.
Which failed, Chair.
Okay, you can't say it failed. It was not to the expectations of the stakeholders. And then we have worked on around it. We took feedback from the stakeholders, and we are going to have another simulation, I think, sometimes this week or next week.
Yeah, next week.
Early next week. The team has actually worked on it, and today they even took the commission through what they have done, and we are satisfied that we are on the right track. So I think we shall invite you and the stakeholders here.
But maybe allow me to weigh in on what the chairman has said, because when you talk about testing, yes, it's 60 days before the election. We actually, and I want to demonstrate this, because that system is what? The system that is envisaged is verification, results transmission, and registration. Registration you had already completed using Morpho kits.
Yeah.
Because enrollment was actually done before we procured the technology. So we are actually talking about two systems that needs to be tested. Which ones are they? Results transmission and identification.
Okay.
During verification, when actually we provided this opportunity to people for them to go and verify their details, which systems were we using? We were using the new system, and therefore we provided opportunity. It was tested, and actually it was working, because guys were going there and they are verifying their details. What was remaining was only the results transmission. Okay. And this is actually what we tested here. Maybe the stakeholders were not happy with the outcome, but actually we tested it here. Okay. And that's why, because of that outcome, we said we are going to give the country another test, and that's what we are prepared.
The reason why, my last question on this, you explained, but I see 44 says, and this is what the court said, notwithstanding, you talked about repealing those sections. So notwithstanding, to me, it's notwithstanding the technology, right? There should be another one. So if you look at this strictly with the law, I mean, it's not even implied, it's explicit. Notwithstanding is explicit. Notwithstanding this, the other one should be there as complementary. So when you insist that you want to associate yourself with that particular section, explain to me why 44A says notwithstanding.
You cannot read the legislation in isolation.
I know that.
But again, let's be cautious here, because there's again a matter in the High Court on the same issue. We don't know what the court is going to decide on this matter. That's why we said as a commission, we shall print the register and have it available and await the outcome of that court decision.
So there's a possibility we'll have both of them, again, depending on this.
When it comes to the court, as I said, we shall implement the court order.
Wanna see you.
But allow me to address because you know it's a very contentious issue.
Yes.
What makes you think that the physical register is not a complementary system? What makes you think it is not? Can I ask you why you think so? When you say we are going to print, it's going to be available and it's going to be the last resort, it is still a complementary. When the technology has failed completely, we are going to use that register. So why are you saying that it's not complementary system?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. My argument is what she said. Azimio is pushing one,
Azimio
Kenya Kwanza is pushing another one. And it seems the IEBC, because of the foregoing reasons that you have explained, prone to manipulation and all, they are considering only, and the chairman has made this clear, they want only those present at the polling station to vote. Now with the manual one, like a book, you can vote. You can see the people who've not voted, their ID numbers are there, and they can key into the system and vote for them. So that's why you want it out. So I never said myself it's not. But my question is, why is it that there's a contention within this, yet the law, section 44A, is very clear, even based on that code of honor, notwithstanding 39. We talks about it explicitly also, right? Notwithstanding. So my contention was notwithstanding. And the other one, why do you want technology? Why do you want my computer to be complementary instead of just bringing the manual one?
The manual. Na tunafahamu kwamba sajili itakuwa ni ile sawa. Mnasema kwamba sajili ile kwenye elektroniki ndio itakuwa sawa na ile ambayo itaprintiwa.
Iko sawa kabisa. Sajili iko sawa kabisa. Na kwa nini tunasema tusitumie register na teknolojia kwa wakati mmoja? Kwa sababu ukitumia technology peke yake utakuwa hujui nani ambaye haja kuja kupiga kura. Ni uje ujipresent ndo tuku identify. Lakini kama mimi kazi yangu hapa ni kumechanically ku-cross, pia naona wale wengine hawaja piga kura, then ina provide opportunity ambao mtu anaweza kuja sasa na ndo tunasema ya kuwa presiding officer, kwa sababu ni temporary official, ni mzuri ya kuwa akifanya ile kazi hajui ni nani ambaye hajakuja. Lakini ukijipresent, ukija na ID yako na vidole vyako, then utakuwa identify.
Kwa hivyo kuna nafasi ama kuna nafasi ya kwamba mwisho wa siku ya kupiga kura huenda ikawa hii sajili ambayo ni imeprintiwa huenda ikawa haitatumika.
Kama mtambo hautaharibika, mimi sioni kwa nini tutumie.
CEO, I want us to make progress because there are two interventions that are coming from Abubakar and Ken. But before that, this election, because if you recall what happened in 2017, part of the reason there are problems at the Supreme Court is because of the polling stations that could not transmit results from their polling stations. They said that there are several that transmitted from non-gazetted polling stations. Recently, you've told us that you've procured at least 1,111 satellite modems to take care of areas that are affected. Commissioner Gulia here said that you are the sympathy of the mobile network operators. If network does not cooperate on that day, whether by design or by accident, how then are we sure that you're going to receive transmission from all these polling stations at a time that your first trial was 40% successful? Chairman.
Yeah, thank you for that. We have actually been working on that. As you rightly put it, the report from Communication Authority said 1,111 polling centers will not transmit. I and the CEO have actually held meetings with the mobile network operators, all the Safaricom, Telecom, and Airtel, and we are working. There's a technical team working around that. So where there's no 3G, then we shall deploy the satellite devices which we have for purpose of that transmission. So I think that's, as a commission, we are...
That's fine,
yes.
But the Constitution gives the mandate to IEBC to conduct an election, not mobile network operators. So if the technology does not work on that day, and your satellite modems are just 1,000 and a few hundreds, what then for the other polling stations? Can they transmit results from outside the polling stations?
Well, Marjan, maybe you can comment, but as we have been saying, IBC cannot do the election on its own.
Okay.
We need other stakeholders to come in, and that's why we engage suppliers. Mobile network operators are part of the suppliers. We have contracts with them. And the issue of internet connectivity is not for IBC. They are enablers. Yes. Can do that.
There are questions that are coming up.
Can I first of all try to respond? Yes.
Just let him respond.
What I want you to understand is that this situation of network rollout is not unique to only this country. I don't think there is a country that has got 100% rollout of 3G and 4G. So it is not unique to us. It is something that we envisage to be in many other countries. And therefore, there must be solution where, for example, there is no network. There must be possibility of where actually the presiding officer can actually move to another place and be able to transmit the same. This, what we have done is to ensure that at each and every tallying center, the 290 tallying center at the constituency, they will have actual network. And in addition to that, we are talking about 1,111 centers. Centers, within a center, there are polling stations. A school, for example, is a center. Within that school, there will be several classes which are going to be polling station. If we provide one satellite modem in that specific area, it will provide wireless network to all those classes. And I want to believe that at the end of the day, they should be able to transmit. All those polling stations in that area should be able to transmit.